All right, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to a special video. So today we are taking a look at the patch notes for June 19, which is today. And I wanted to talk about this because it was a pretty big one for basically every class. They did a little bit of PvP balancing and, accuracy, evasion. A lot of skills got changed for every class. But mostly I wanted to look at it for the Dark Knight, simply because that one is relevant to me. And I want to hear all of your opinions on the class changes for everyone else. But if I take a look at everything, it would probably be the longest video ever. So let's just take a look at what the developers had to say. So basically, with today's maintenance, they've changed each character's skill hit counts and revamped accuracy, DR, and evasion. So we talked about this a while ago. Basically, you know how in every character's skill set, it has it does X amount of damage times X amount of hits, right? And I always said that I thought it would be better if it did less hits, because let's say you do 1,000 damage times 10 hits, right? Now, assuming all 10 of those hits actually went off, that would be a lot of damage. However, that has to factor in all the DR, evasion, lag, ping, and everything. So chances are, for the most part, in PvP, you aren't actually getting in all of those hits. So I think it would be better to be more damage times 2 or 3 hits. And it just goes better no matter how good or bad your overall ping is to the game and latency. Obviously, it's not a permanent solution. It just makes it better. So I think it's an overall good thing, but we'll see. I've already heard complaints about some classes, like the skills and everything, but we'll look at that in a few minutes. So first, as previously announced, the hit counts for each characters have been reduced by 70-80%. So my understanding of this is, what we just talked about. Instead of 1,000 damage times 10 hits, probably higher damage times 2 or 3 hits. So in theory, it should feel the same, damage wise, but you don't have to land all 10 hits. So it's harder for PvP, a little bit easier for PvE. So we'll see how that works. I'll be doing some videos testing that later. While we carefully adjusted this to minimize the impact on the feel of combat, it initially seemed unfamiliar due to streamlined nature. So basically, they said we're still testing it and expect more changes soon, TM. Overall, I think this is a step in the right direction. I don't really know how it'll be for everything. That's why we test it. But I think overall, it's a good change. Next, we overhauled the accuracy, damage reduction, and evasion. Simply, we plan to adjust the damage and accuracy to compensate for DR reduced hit counts. However, we determined that fundamental changes was more necessary. Yeah, that's the problem when you have 27 classes in this game and you don't know how to balance any of them. So yeah, it does need a lot of work. That's the special part about Black Desert is, when you come into a game or when you're looking for a new MMO to play, what makes this MMO stand out compared to, other games? And I think BDO's sandbox and a lot of different classes is what is attractive to other people, which I think is a good thing. However, that comes with the side of, do you know how to balance the classes? And BDO is probably one of the least balanced games I've ever seen in my MMO careers. So, I mean, it's still probably the best and most fun combat, but do they know how to balance it? I don't think so. I don't even think they know what they're doing. So anyway, particularly for evasion, successful evasion currently takes no damage at all. Yep, we've known that for years. Everyone already knew evasion was better than DR at the very high end. As AP increases, the effectiveness of evasion becomes very high. Essentially, if you are super geared, you take no damage and do a lot of damage. Basically, you're a sage. So they wanted to make it so it's a little bit more balanced, and I think it's overall, a necessary change that should have been done years ago. So firstly, the evasion system has been modified. now even when you successfully evade, you will still receive a minimum amount of damage, regardless of how high the defender's evasion is compared to how the accuracy. So this is something we've talked about in our previous videos of like how important accuracy and DR and evasion always is. So instead of completely dodging all damage, now you take like a percentage of damage at very minimum. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. And keep in mind, I am a DR player. I've done evasion exactly one time, and for the most part, my class just isn't it. So either way, how do I feel about that? Probably okay at like the 1%, but for the most part, will people know? I have no idea. So accuracy has been increased for most classes to actually be able to hit high-end evasion players. This adjustment will be like taking minimal damage instead of perfect immunity. I think that's a good thing overall. This change is intended to balance the reduced hit counts, ensuring evasion does not become advantageous. So basically they want DR and evasion to be more or less equal. And here's the thing. This sounds good on paper for PvP. However, back like, I don't know, a year ago, basically evasion was getting like nuked in PvE. So for anyone who's been playing for over like 2 years at the end game, you know Dekia, Ash Forest. I've seen so many people on full evasion get deleted. It's actually wild. So yeah, I don't know. So for PvE, all of you who are over 750 gear score or something, let me know how it feels actually, because I'm actually curious. Next, we have introduced a bonus damage reduction system. Many adventurers expressed their concerns about characters dying too quickly in PvP scenarios. Yeah, that's how it's been for almost 8 years. Evasion has always been better than DR in PvP. I think DR was generally better in PvE, just because like you take reduced damage, and you know, like if you can not stand in dumb, and if you have any minimal level of reaction time, I think that was overall better. So they basically added new brackets for DR and one-shot skills. Dark Knights never had those. Actually, we kind of did, but that was years ago. I think the one-shot skills come from OP classes, but for the most part, if you play like 20 of the 27 classes, chances are you have no idea what that meant. Depending on your defensive stats, you receive a bonus. So basically, you know, brackets and all that stuff, they added a higher tier of brackets. Additionally, the damage taken while in super armor has been reduced. That's good, because, you know, shield classes are very tanky with super armor. And yeah, if you've ever fought like a warrior or Valkyrie and then you just like front load into them and then they take no damage, that was it. That was exactly the reason. Therefore, we have leveraged super armor to provide effective protection against during critical moments. The DR rate varies depending on the class's characteristics. So I assume that means that like shield classes, like, you know, Nova, Warrior, Val, and everything else, they're still going to be good. They got a slight defensive nerf, which, let's be real, it's kind of justified, but I understand that's like part of the class. You play a shield class to be tanky, but I hope that they just didn't nerf it to the ground. I hope they just got taken down from like a 10 to a 9. So it really is what it is. All right, to achieve this, we have modified accuracy modifiers to each class. Previously, some classes had high accuracy even without item support. Yep, Dark Knights are a class with accuracy passives, Witch and Wizard. And basically, if your passive tree gave you extra accuracy, then that was it. Then you were an accuracy one. In line with these, the effects of Dawn's gloves, Ator's shoes, and accuracy accessories have been enhanced. So accuracy accessories are now buffed. So I think people are gonna panic and start buying accuracy accessories again. I don't think that they are super necessary. I think if they are necessary, but you don't need like a full circle of gear, like, you know, all your accessories to be accuracy. I think for most people, like 3 accuracy accessories is probably good enough at the gear we all have at endgame. So obviously some classes can get away with like 1 or 2. I think 3 accuracy accessories are the sweet spot for like a majority of players. And then of course, there's always going to be the meme builds where they just go full accuracy. Like you can hit everything, but you deal like no damage. So it is what it is. I think for most people who are damage builds, like, you know, Debos and everything, yeah, like 2 to 3 accuracy accessories is probably the way to go. Plus, you know, crystals and everything. So that's just how I've always felt in PvP for a while. So yeah, let's take a look at some of these. I kind of want to skip to Dark Knight simply because that's what matters to me. Let's see. So adjusted the number of hits to all skills due to skills skills getting changed. Skill damage modified, hit increase modified, resource recovery, class resources recovered, and skill add-ons. So we'll take a look at that. All right, so let's see. Damage reduction revamp. So this is for all the classes. Added more brackets for basically everything. So I want to look at it in game for a second. Let me see 1 second. So if you are more or less at the end game, you probably like this is like very late end game. Chances are you are within like 420, 430 DP, assuming you have full Tet, Fallen Gods, and then, you know, accuracy, and you don't have like too many defensive accessories. This is, I think, what the standard is. So let's say you are at 433 for your DR. So where would this be lining up at the end game? We are currently right here, so at 86 extra DR bracket, which that's pretty good. Everyone else, you can see the chart over here. Realistically, I think if you are a full DP build and that's all you build, you do no damage, but you take no damage either, you're probably, I would say probably around here. I think. I don't actually have this calculated, but if I were to take a random estimate, you're probably within, you know, these 3 brackets for DP if you are built that way. I don't think any of these are obtainable yet. Then again, I don't know. I'm just taking a wild guess. But I think these are probably just future-proofing it. So, like, you know, eventually they're going to make gear better than what we have now. So these are probably just for the future. I don't think anyone can break 600. Maybe you can, but I don't know. But either way, these are probably just for the future. Accuracy and evasion revamp. Now, when you evade attack, you will be dealt reduced damage. Evading an attack will display the miss, but you still take damage. Okay, so even if that means you evade, you will still be dealt 10% of damage. Let's see, okay. So based on your character level, accuracy before and accuracy after. Wait, when does this start changing? Okay, so starting at level 34, weird number to start at. That's when things actually start getting ramped up. Let's be real, most people are probably level 60 all the way to 66. And so just assume you are at max bracket. And so from 383 to 417, or you went from 383 to 417. Let's just assume level 50 is the max since that's the highest bracket. Most people, let's be real, you're not PvPing under level 60 anyway, so it is what it is. Basically, we all got a buff. Skill and summon accuracy rate. So these are for... Let's look at the ones. Let's look at Dark Knight. Change skill accuracy rate. Change summon accuracy rate. I don't actually really know what this means. And accuracy rate effect increased. Okay, so this one is Dark Knight. Bro, Dark Knights didn't even get a change. Okay. Skill and summon accuracy. What does summon accuracy rate even mean? So basically, I think the reason why we didn't get any effect is because I know like Witch and Wizard Dark Knights already have accuracy passives. So like if we got a buff and then it scaled even higher, we would actually just not need accuracy anymore. So I think that's like the reason why they didn't. But it's actually very interesting to see how Dark Knights still got less accuracy than Wizard and Witch, even though, you know, they are like generally better in every way, in my opinion. Ninjas have 25%. That's so they get evasion and accuracy now. Okay, very cool. But like I think the way it works is like after the change, like we still get this number, right? But we get our passive bonuses. So in theory, it should still be higher as an accuracy class. At least I'd like to think so. But yeah, it's Pearl Abyss we're talking about. Nothing makes sense. All right, so anyway. Yeah, a lot of these make sense. Like the classes that shouldn't have a lot of accuracy don't. But let's see. One thing I want to see is Sage. There is no shot Sage had a 16.5 default like base. It always felt like it was a lot higher than everything else because in PvP, my experience fighting against Sage and playing with Sage is like they don't need accuracy accessories at all, and like whereas every other class did. So the fact that they're 16.5 base was a little bit different. I don't know, something didn't add up with that class. Oh wow, Draconia actually had a difference in Succession and Awakening. I didn't know that actually. I just knew Draconias were super good in PvP. I didn't know how they were in PvE, but like, very cool. Either way, there's nothing really to talk about with Dark Knights over here. So let's move on. Class DP and Evasion effect changes. Class, all AP, increased effect, all Evasion. All right, so let's see. Dark Knight. Dark Shadow, removed all the DP increased effect. Shadow Strike, Wrath of Adir, removed magic DP, increased effect. Prime Wheel of Fortune, this is Succession, added all evasion rate. This seems like it doesn't matter, even though like 9% sounds good, but I don't know. I might have to try Succession just to try this, because Wheel of Fortune on Succession is one of your biggest abilities, so adding all evasion on it, it sounds good on paper, but is it really? I'll test that out for you guys over the next week or so. Dark Shadow. I don't really... I don't know. I guess, like... For DP, I think most Dark Knights just Q block. For that DP increase. Shadow Strike, Wrath of Adir, removed magic DP. Yeah, these are both actually used abilities a lot, so we'll see how that plays out, because I know I use these a lot, so we'll see. All evasion rate reduction effects changes by class. Trap of Vidir changed from 15% to negative 15 to 9%. Evasion rate reduction. Negative 15 to negative 9. Will that make a difference? I'm not sure. Succession, Impervious Command. Added all evasion -3 for 5 seconds on mark on branded hits. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think many Dark Knights actually use Impervious Command. Like, it's a weird thing to add into your combos. I very rarely used it. I know you should, but it's just a really wonky ability. So if all of you Succession players, make sure to keep this in mind. You actually have to start using it now. All right. Super armor and forward guard systems. We already read that. The damage reduction does not take effect for shield classes with improved rear resistance during forward guard. Striker and Mystic 25% or 25% reduction. So basically, Strikers and Mystics would always take reduced damage against magic classes like Dark Knight, Witch, Wizard, and any other magic classes works. So I guess there's basically saying they didn't get hit extra. Awakening Warrior, Awakening Witch, and Awakening Guardian. 20% reduction while using Awakening skills. Is that... okay. Suck Corsair and Suck Valk. 20% reduction while using Succession skills. Scholar and Shy, 20% reduction. That doesn't sound too good. Why did they hit Shies? Shies need to be, like, they need something to make up for their lack of offensive ability. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Shies who are building AP do very well. I have seen montage clips of Shies just deleting people. It's actually kind of funny. But do they really need to get hit with a 20% reduction? I don't know. Succession, Zerker, Nova, and Warrior. 15% reduction while using Succession skills. Rip, suck Nova. You weren't really that good, and they got worse. Isn't the point of Succession Nova to be like a tank? And then now they are less tank? I think like most people who play Nova are Awakening anyway, so like this probably won't affect you, but for like the 3 people that do, that doesn't feel too good. Adjusted the damage reduction effect on guard gauge for basically all classes. Q block, E block, S block. I think that's what they mean. Suck Nova, -60 or 60% reduction during forward guard during Succession skills. That's a big number. Oof. Mounted combat. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know anything about mounted combat. All I know for like people who attack on horses are you're doing it to power level yourself at some random PvE spot. All right, so let's see. Let's look at Dark Knight abilities. All right, let's look at this. Dark Knight, set skill accuracy rate to 22.5. Classes with passive accuracy increased effects will gain a rate increase based on the level of the acquired passive skill. So let me show you in game. So I play a Dark Knight. How do you check that? You look at your passives over here. So you see how it gives me like 0.25 accuracy. I think that stacks on top of it. I'm not sure if it's multiplicative or additive. I assume it's additive since like literally everything else in this game is additive. So, well, who knows? That could be good. Adjusted the effects of certain skills to prevent excessive damage reduction due to bonus all damage that scales with your DP. Basically, we read this already, but let's take a look at this anyway. Impervious command for main in succession. I need to actually start using this more often. Affected the following skills once learned. Hidden Strike, Ravage, Rake, Enforcement. All of these are succession abilities. Well, I mean, they're main hand, but like mostly succession uses them. There are a few abilities here that you use as Awakening, but not so much. Comma Slash, Wheel of Fortune, Detonate, Mark. Succession, Impervious Command adds all evasion. Yep, you gotta start using this now. Alright, so all of these are basically succession abilities. Ravage, Rake damage. This is a very important one for succession. From negative 46.1 to negative 44 in PvP only. So I think that's overall better, but you have to like actually land all the hits on it. Prime Enforcement got a minus 17 damage in PvE. Enforcement is a very strong ability. If you CC someone and hit them with the absolute enforcement, it will chunk their health. So did it deserve a nerf? Maybe. I don't know. That's something I'll have to test, but I just know enforcement is very strong. Lunacy of Vadir got damage went up a little bit. So probably feels the same, realistically. Blooming, Black Rose, huge damage in PvP. That's one of those things where Blooming Rose is a very good ability. You just need to know how to use it properly, and that is very hard for some people. Darkness Burst can no longer be used without MP. Everyone has infinite potions these days. Irrelevant. Improved to apply critical hit rate in PvP as well. A Hidden Strike, that's good. Okay, well, most of these changes for Dark Knight are succession. The ones that got changed for Awakening is Trap of Vadir, and that is not like a damage ability in general. It's more of a utility. I'll be honest, I don't really know the other classes well enough to give you a real like opinion on it. So let's just look at the item changes, hit count, and revamped system. Adjusted the effects of elixir items, so for all of you who are endgame elixir grinders, myself included, these got changed. Elixir of Draining, recover 3 to 9. Okay, so from 3 to 9 per critical hit, that's huge. Elixir of Strong Draining, well, actually, let's just look at the improved version. Everyone should be using blue elixirs, not green one anyway. 5 to 15, pretty good. I'll do some testing later. Brutal Perforation, more damage for back attacks. Brutal Death, 15. Grim Reaper is 3 to 9. The one we want to see is Draining, realistically, because that one's the expensive elixir. Spirit Perfume, Bracing, 3 to 9. That's good. Corruption, Frenzy. These are the important ones for most people as well. Frenzy drafts. Perilla's Star got changed from 1 to 3 per hit. Cool. I realistically don't think people are using these kind of crystals because there's just better things to use it on, like literally more damage. So let's see. Did they change Draining at all? Oh wait, that was it. Okay, never mind. All right, well, basically all elixirs are better. Some alchemy stones are better. Accessories. The ones that are relevant are probably realistically Dawn earrings. So Tet and Pen got a plus 17 and plus 19 increase. I think if you are at the very end game and you have a 5 Devo setup, Dawn earring will be the one you get. But if you're going to 3 accuracy, or like 3 accessory rate, is probably going to be double Dawn, and whichever one gives the least amount of AP for the last Devo. So basically everything is here. I am not sure about Lunar next because that is the highest trade-off for AP to accuracy you get. So like, yeah, you're getting it more, but you're trading off a lot of AP. So realistically, I think for most people, Dawn earrings are the way to go for accuracy accessories. Turo or the Turo belt might be solid as well, but I'm also not sure simply because there are a few other choices for high-end PvP and sieges, like Abex belt, and you also have to factor in Deboreka, but yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe Ominous and Dawn earrings are probably the ones to go. All right, so defensive gear, like Fallen God. Dawn gloves at Tet, you went from 44 to 46, basically plus 2 to every bracket, no matter what you are at. Cool. Dawn gloves for the Evasion side, or the green one. Wait, hold up. Wait, hold up. Let me look at this in game now. Okay, so my Dawn gloves have 50 accuracy with 84 DP, right? This is at Tet. 50 accuracy, 84 DP. What the heck? These are the same things now. All right, let's take a look at it. So for Evasion, for the green one, you have 45 plus 115, so, and then the DR route, you go 46 plus 31. So let me see. You get plus 7 Evasion, and then plus 25 on the bracket. And then for DR, you get plus 7 on non, and then plus 2. That does not seem like the math checks out, to be honest, but again, I don't really know. It's something I'll have to test with other guildies and friends to see. But right now, just on paper, it looks like Evasion, like just straight up, still might be better, but I don't know. It's something I'm gonna have to test later. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure that one out. So basically, they both have the same amount of stats, minus like some Evasion DR, but I don't know. On paper, it seems like Evasion's still better. Ator shoes, Evasion. Plus 2 to every bracket. The DR Ators didn't get changed. Pet bags. Irrelevant. You guys shouldn't be using Black Star armors in general, so let's just skip that one. If you do have Black Star armors, fix that now. Make sure to turn that into a Fallen God. Uvala is irrelevant because, let's be honest, if you are in a seasonal, you're most likely not PvPing. And if you are, it's only plus 1. You literally won't see a difference. Muskin shoes for the reformed ones, irrelevant. Basically, the only thing we had to look at was Dawn gloves, because those are endgame pieces. We've taken a comprehensive overhaul in hit counts for all classes. No, they didn't. Reviewed and focused balance and blah blah blah. 56 to ensure smoother leveling experience. We refined skill descriptions. I don't think they did anything. Whatever. Dark Knight, Unveiled Dagger 1. Progression, it makes it easier. Bro, Unveiled Dagger isn't even really an ability that you use when leveling. They don't play this game. Yep, this chart literally proved to me that they don't know what the relevant skills to level up are. Just to give you an idea, it should be Wheel of Fortune, Lunacy, Spirit Legacy, and Airstrike. Maybe not so much, it's just mobility. But I think the best abilities for Dark Knight to help people level up and make it a lot easier are those 3 abilities. Wheel of Fortune being number 1, Spirit Legacy number 2, Wrath of Vidir being 3, and or Lunacy. What is this? Class changes? Succession, comma slash, fixed an issue where you could recover different amounts of MP for normal and charged attacks. If you had an infinite potion that was irrelevant. Spirit Blaze, fixed an issue where only extra attacks would apply to air debuff. I don't think anyone actually paid attention to that one, but okay. Dark Rift event will begin next week. Added new quests that allow you to exchange the gloves with crystallized despairs. Basically, you exchange evasion to DR or DR to evasion. Oh, crystallized despairs to exchange now. That's good because these are irrelevant after you get your Vel's Heart upgrades, so maybe Hex Sanctuary will actually be relevant again now. Who knows? Probably not, but there's actually another use for them. Very cool. Change so Embers of Despair and Embers of Frost can now be registered for sale on the market on the central market. 20 million per unit. I kind of wish this came out on release many years ago. Like, you know, Embers of Despair came out with, what is it? Odalita? I think? Odalita? 4 years ago? Maybe 5 years ago? Embers of Frost with the Mountain of Eternal Winter. That's probably at least 3 years old now. So, yeah, that should have been with the start, but I'm glad it's finally in the game. It helps newer players. Very cool. Dekia Cyclops. Let's see. Improve the baby gargoyle to appear at a closer location. Reduce the distance it needs to find a target by 50%. Move 2 Cyclops statues out of 5 nearby locations. You know what the most annoying thing about Dekia Cyclops, if you've watched my grind video, is it's just obnoxiously loud. Like, the gargoyle screeching is obnoxious. And that was the one grind spot I had to turn off the audio for making a video, and we just listened to the Marnie wave music. Oh my god, that's a wall of text. What does this mean? Change the number of hits to break a certain monster mechanic. A lot of Dekia spots. Change the monster AP into falling zones. Following the class DR. Increased changes in systems. Okay. Node War Conquest. For regions. Basically, it just got changed after the whole rate. Very cool. Alright, and then just a lot of bug changes and fixes and stuff. So, with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We talked about a lot of stuff. I gave you my thoughts and opinions. I know this is a 40-minute video. That's wild, actually. But, yeah, hopefully you guys learned some stuff as well. We got some more guides to do. We got some more grind spots to test in the future. So, If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you come back. We'll be doing a lot of testing with a lot of things in the future. So if you're interested in checking that out, that's some things we're going to be doing coming up soon. So with that said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Peace.